Hey Jason, I want to really quickly show you the basic mechanics for Timeline Tinkerers. So the first one, as I mentioned in the email, is movement. The cubes start here in the present time, and you decide where you want to go back in the time. So I'm going to select the first one here, and then I take my die, I roll the die, and unfortunately I rolled a 1, so that means I can only take one cube back to this position. Now for my next turn, I can decide if I want to try and bring more over, or if I want to try and impact this timeline with just one cube. But like I mentioned, it's a lot more difficult to move this timeline with just one cube here or fewer cubes here. It's a lot easier the more cubes I have. So I would probably take a second turn to try and move more over. Oh, and I got 6. So obviously there's not 6 left, but anything over the number that's there means I can bring them all. So I can bring them all here. And then the second mechanic, like I mentioned, is impacting the timeline. And the way that's done is by rolling 2 dice and looking at the difference between them. So I would take my 2 dice here. I would look at the difference between 2 and 6. So there's a 4 of a difference. I have at least 4 cubes there, so I have a successful completion on this move, and I can flip it over to the number 1 on the good side. And obviously these cards aren't colored, but the good side would be lighter colored, the bad side would be darker colored. And then I could now take my next turn to either try and move this again up to 2 on the good side, or I can move the cubes over to somewhere else to start working there. So I'm going to move this timeline again. I got a 2 and a 3, so obviously I have enough for that. So I would then shift this up to 2, and this is just showing an improvement in the timeline. So there's little story bits for each section depending on how the timeline improves, and that's the basic mechanic.